Welcome. I'm Bernice Ross, the CEO and president of brokerage at realestatecoach.com. And I have one of my favorite people in the world with us today, Courtney Poulos. She is the broker owner of Acme Real Estate. She's a TV personality. You'll see why. And she's also author of a new book called Breakup, and the subtitle is, yes, yes, yes. I like the subtitle, Break Up with Your 401k. It's sexier than shopping for shoes. Which was not part of the title. We just came up with that, or Courtney came up with it. So Courtney, thank you for being with us today. First of all, you are the broker owner of Acme Real Estate. Now, why in heaven's name, you are a marketing guru. You do more creative marketing things than anybody I've ever talked to, and you name your brand Acme Real Estate. Why in heaven's name did you do that?
There's a story, actually. Our firm specializes in renovation resale. And when I was just a baby agent, kind of trying to figure out my place in the world, I had a client who was a branded flipper, and I wanted to put his logo on my sign. And I went to my broker and I said, can I put his logo on the sign? And the broker said no. So I decided I was going to get my license so that I could market my properties and my clients the way that I wanted to, with client first branding that put the brokerage branding second to the client branding. Therefore, Acme, which is an anti-brand, it's the generic brand. So it's the white space brand. We're the rebel brand.
But I love the white space, it's the white space brand. And, one of the things I love what you do is that you always put your customer or your client first. I mean, that was, your intent. And for anybody who's listening, this is how you stay in business for a long time.
And also for us, it's attracted people to us, clients to us, who are lost in the mix at the big brokerages. I mean, I think especially at this day and age where there are only, a few really successful indie brokerages, we have the power to be nimble where the big guys can't. So the more curated we are and the more we put our clients ahead of the brokerage branding, the more distinct we are in our markets. It's a competitive edge.
You just hit on a very important point about being distinct in your market. And you have honed out a very clear niche, not a big niche. You don't need a whole lot of people and can be highly profitable with that. So one of the things I want to ask, okay, you've got this brand new book. I can't wait to read it. I'm still, but from what I've seen, this is something. What motivates you to write this book called Breakup, which is really about helping women move from being, from renting into becoming homeowners instead of putting money into their 401k. And for our listeners who don't know this, 18% of the purchases last year were done by single women. 18%. That's almost 1/5 of the market is single women. So this is
I love that. And that number is going up.
Yes.
Here's the thing. When I was hosting the FYI show, my city's just not that into me. I traveled all over the country, and I found that there were women who were making six figures in almost every major city that I was in that were still in rentals. And I'm like, why are you renting? And the answer over and over again is, well, I'm just waiting because I don't know, my life might change. I might meet Mr. Right. We might want to buy a house together somewhere else. It's this waiting game, which I feel like is the last piece of the patriarchy to fall. Financial independence is sexy. It attracts a higher quality partner. And if you already have your ducks in a row and you meet Mr. Right, then you can sell those properties that you own and have a big enough down payment without having to save and save and save to buy the dream house right off the bat. I mean, that's incredible.
Keep it and have the money to pay if you have children for your child's education. Pay that house off, and then you got that cash flow to pay for college.
Yep, 100%. Or you can, leverage it as a rental. This is the thing, is that you have this thing that's appreciating. And if it's being rented out, it pays for itself plus some. And over the course of time, usually a cycle, 10 years, that thing has already, got so much more value in it than when you initially bought it, that you can do lots of things. I have one client who started a kombucha company with the money that she made off the appreciation of her property. So, it frees you up. It gives you something diverse in your portfolio. It's not just a stock or a 401k account that has a limited amount of flexibility. With real estate, you can live in it, you can leverage it, you can rent it out, you can sell it, you can take the money and buy something else. There are tax breaks involved, all kinds of things. So it just offers a ton of possibility.
Well,
And
I'm so excited to hear about this. So let's go ahead and talk about then. Okay, I was single for many years. I built my own house, and I own condos and everything. And it's just, that's been a great journey for me. Real estate has been a good investment, and especially when you get older and it's paid off.
yeah,
You do get to the 30 years if you start in your 20s.
right. That's right. Oh my God. Yes.
If you don't refi too many times. But anyway, so how do I decide about whether I should buy single family residence for myself, or should I do investments? So let's talk about single family options first. If I'm going to buy my own property, what's your recommendation, Courtney?
So I think it really depends where you live. So if you're living in an urban environment where the price of real estate is very high, for example, I sold in Washington, D.C., in Los Angeles, like the cost of living is high, the property values are high. Maybe your $70,000 a year salary is not going to get you the house that you want, the single family house that you want. In our market, single family houses do appreciate more quickly than condos. So I would recommend you buy a single family house and use it as a rental while you rent where you're living. You have your property that's being rented out, and as the market appreciates, then you can sell that and buy a single family house for yourself to live in.
So what you're saying is, if I can't afford to buy a single family house because I'm in a high area, is buy in a lesser, in an area that's not as expensive.
And don't just consider buying where you live. There's a whole country of amazing opportunities out here. In State College, Pennsylvania, where I'm from, for example, you can buy a $300,000 3-bedroom, 2-bath house that is really in good shape and also would rent very well to the college students who go to Penn State. It's totally there for $300,000 at 3.5% down. That's what, like 11 grand or something like that. It's like very nominal. It's your bonus. It's 1 year's bonus if you wanted to take out an FHA loan there. Or for example, in Sacramento, California, we've got new energy in our governor's seat in California. So we have a lot of young energy going to Sacramento. It's still considered a subprime market. And you get in there and you can see that property values are appreciating there. And the trend looks like it's going up. Phoenix, Arizona. Austin's already arrived, but you can still get some good, like the
outside areas here. Yeah. If you go out, 20 to 25 minutes outside the city, there's some very good deals, especially if you're going north where there's a lot of high tech, and of course now pushing east and south out of the city as well. So it's just, and there's a lot of land to grow here. So
much. And, same is true in Nashville, Tennessee. There's just so many options. So the first thing I would say to anybody who's considering breaking up with a rental and buying a property is to go online, go to something like Quicken Loans, some nationwide lender, get a pre-qual, see what the monthly payments are, like what you need to clear if it was rented, and figure out where you might like to buy. So for me, I do this all the time. I go on Zillow, I'm like, okay, I just got pre-qualified for an investment property at $350. Where do I want to buy? And then I start typing things in: Idlewild, Big Bear, Portland, Seattle, the Poconos. I just want to see where I can spend my money. It's so much better than shopping for shoes too, because this is an appreciating, not a depreciating asset. Real estate
is a way more expensive purchase, though. Although for what someone would spend on their shoes, they could be making payments on a house that, for the difference in their, you spend $300 or $400 a month on shoes, and all of a sudden, you add that to your rent, you probably have enough money to buy easily.
We are sold consumables, as part of our demonstration to the world that we have arrived, So I have Louboutins and instead of my mortgage payment on an investment property, or I go on trips to Tulum, or I I get Botox or whatever. Like, we do these things to ourselves as women to demonstrate that we are making it. But those things are temporary and they go out of style, frankly. And they're not always the healthiest choice either. You know, so these, after you've spent your money on your experience or your shoes or your Botox has faded away, you're left with nothing. There's nothing there. So
you are in LA, I can tell.
It's true. No, it's true everywhere. I mean,
it is. Oh, you just tapped on it. So, you know, so.
I mean, a lot of people are. So I'm just saying, my point is, real estate is something.
A lot of people are sitting there kind of going,
what? They know they're doing Botox too. Please. If you live in an urban environment and you are a single professional woman, you are Superwoman just like everybody else. You have to look good. You have to, you know, be young and powerful and smart and well put together, your hair, your nails, like, you know, we're super women. We are. Until we get to the point where our properties are paid off, and then we can chill, you know what I mean? But right now it's building, and that's what we need to do. You know, we have to buy real estate when we can, not just when we think the time is right. Psychologically, people do not buy real estate when the market is going down. You don't think, oh, property values are going down, now's a great time to buy, unless you're an investor.
Well, you know, I think, Courtney, you hit on an important thing, is that we have a shortage of homes in the country right now. And a lot of homes have been pulled in the rental pool, and we still have shortage of rentals. So when you're looking at an investment property, you have to look at how much demand is in that area. Mm-hmm. And then you have to look, does it cash flow? And I do want to recommend the best book I've ever seen on this is Gary Keller's The Millionaire Real Estate Investor, where mm-hmm. he lays out the different ways that you can buy, whether you're buying for cash flow, for appreciation. He tells you the exact steps, to, you know, how to evaluate it. It's very detailed, but what it does, it will show you, you know, and you can have your CPA do it, but it's, if you learn it, you're learning to, you know, how to invest again and again and again and build a lot of money, not only for yourself, but for your, you know, if you have kids or for your family, or you want to take those great trips, all the above.
That's it. I mean, I came from a family where nobody owned real estate. We weren't taught financial education. I didn't have two parents who were telling me, okay, Courtney, now you're in college. They're going to give you credit cards. Don't spend your money on them. You know, that nobody said save a little here. When properties were so much cheaper than they are now, when I was in college, I was working 3 jobs. I could have easily put a couple $100 away and saved enough money for a down payment on a $150,000 house.
Let's talk about that too, because a lot of people think that they have to have 20% down. And there's a company called downpaymentresource.com. If you're not familiar with it, here in the United States, they actually 84% of the properties in the U.S. qualify for down payment assistance. 84%. Almost.
That's incredible. 84%.
It is incredible.
No,
and their average grant of down payment assistance is $13,000 at the time that we're doing today's recording. That's $13,000, and that can be interest rate buy downs, help with down payment. It can be closing costs. There's even one program that the government has where they will, if you're going to do some renovation, they will count your renovation costs towards the down payment.
Amazing.
You get reimbursed. So there are a lot of things that are out there that you can do. And again, that's downpaymentresource.com. Now,
well, I think our friend who wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad makes an excellent point too, that the distinction between people is not how much money they make, it's what they spend their money on. So I find that in a lot of us hardworking people who are not independently wealthy, and our parents aren't loaded and we aren't trust fund kids, we actually have to work for our money. We spend our money on things in like TVs and new cars and like shoes and trips and that kind of
thing. The t-shirt on that one.
Yeah. Instead of spending our money in a way that makes us money. And real estate is the easiest way to do that. If you're not some savvy, stock investor betting on a really high risk stock and that's too complicated. That's why 401ks have been sold to us in the workplace for the past 20 years. I remember when I worked for a federal subcontractor and they had the suits come in and sell us the 401k. And what they explained to us was that there was high, medium, and low risk, and that the company would match. What if the company matched a down payment account. Why aren't we doing that? It's because these 401k companies are actually sales companies. They're selling a product, and we don't even know what we're buying. We've just been sold the idea that it's safe. Guess what? It's not safe. Not safe. But with real estate, I can live in it. I can improve it. I can rent it out. I can leverage it. It gives me so many more options and so much more possibility for the long term than a 401k. The return numbers they speak for themselves.
Yeah, one of the things I saw when I was early on in the business, I had a lot of clients that were from Mexico or from Cuba, and what they were doing is they would come in and they'd put their 10% down on the property, and they'd get a duplex or a triplex. They'd live in one unit and fix it up. And then they'd rent that another unit and fix it up.
Yeah.
And they would, refinance, take 10% out of there, and the money's, it's cash flowing now, it's making money. And then they buy another unit, repeat, rinse, repeat.
Rinse and repeat. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And so, I mean, that's the thing, you may not, a lot of people look at single family or investment, but there's this other combo where you can rent out that separate unit and you live in it, or you can get a roommate for your unit and you rent the other one. And then your cost goes down pretty considerably.
Duplexes I bought a 2-on-a-lot in Laurel Canyon. I improved it. I refinanced it, and then I rented it out. And the rental income covered about half the mortgage. So for a well-priced property, I was paying a pretty nominal amount in monthly overhead. $2,500 a month was my gross amount that I had to spend on my rent. So that's like huge. The possibility of buying a duplex, it's easy. And in LA, we have ADU laws now, accessory dwelling units, which means you can legally convert your garage into a guest house. So it doesn't get simpler than that. I mean, in some ways, the housing shortage has actually really benefited the single buyer.
Well, that's the whole thing. If you've got a big property and you can be, you've got the lot size, you can build a guest house for a nominal amount of money, and now you've got a rental income from that. There's so many different things that you can do. Courtney, one of the things that is a challenge for us, you said, how do I know what's the right place to do? I mean, you suggest.
I think at the end of the day, you have to partner with a really great real estate agent. So we work with Referral Exchange and also have created a nationwide network. So during my show years, I got a chance to meet with lots of amazing realtors throughout the country. So I have people in almost every pocket. And I think having that local real estate advocate working with you to determine what finish you need in order to get the maximum rental. For example, IKEA butcher block countertops really work, and they're super cheap, and you can put those in a townhouse in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania that you buy. You don't have to go Carrara marble, that people don't need that. So having a local real estate advocate to tell you what it is you need to do to improve it to get maximum value out of it is critical, and whether or not you should be buying a single family house versus a duplex, what the rent control laws are, Airbnb rules and regulations, all that stuff requires a local advocate. But the bottom line is, once you realize what you're doing does not have an emotional component to it, it is strictly real estate investment. This is not your forever house. This is not the place you raise children in. This is a place that's going to make you money in the long term. Then your options just completely open up, And when you realize I get to have the expressive experience of converting this crappy row house, or this in State College, there are a lot of properties that have like rooster wallpaper in their kitchens. I get to rip this off and make it look like Dwell magazine for not a lot of money. And there's something in that creative process that I think really works for women. Like, we get to enjoy the fruits of our labor in a different and creative way. And that's the other thing. It's like, we work so hard. We're super women. We do all this stuff, but why? Why are we doing this? And I think there has to be this other component. Unless you're singing karaoke every night and getting it out that way, I really think that like creating home, transforming space is a place where women can really find something valuable, a great outlet, and it's fun. It makes it worth it.
Well, I want to make one other comment and then kind of wrap this up. The the point that you made, if I'm a woman and I'm working 12 hours a day, I don't have time to go do the creative thing that you're talking about. But there are companies that will supply you with a property, and it has a tenant in it, and they will manage it for you. So that's another source. You need a good realtor to sort through who's good, and you need a good property manager.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
Courtney, kind of to wrap up, what's your final takeaway? What's your final takeaway? What's your final takeaway for today?
My final thing I want to say is that we only get one shot at this, and if somebody said, Courtney, what do you wish somebody would have told you earlier on? I would say buy real estate when you can. When you can, not when you think it's the right time to buy. And that means go online, even if you're approved for $100,000 and you're getting a bonus next year and blah, 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 you want to save, just see what you get approved for right now. Now is the time to buy. And if you can't get what you want where you live, get something in the multitude of American cities that are out there waiting for you, and go online and do some shopping. It's super freaking fun. It's so much sexier than shoe shopping, like we said. So my takeaway is buy real estate when you can, not when you think it's the right time to buy.
So Courtney, if people want to reach you, where can they reach you?
You can go on to the book website, breakupwithyourrental.com, or on my company website, acme-re.com.
Great. And would you repeat that one more time?
Sure. You can visit www.breakupwithyourrental.com or my real estate website, acme-re.com.
Well, thank you. We've been visiting with Courtney Poulos, and broker owner of Acme Real Estate, author, and Break Up With Your 401k. I love this. This is such a great title. Thank you so much for being with us today, Courtney. This has been terrific.
Thank you. Thanks so much.